Have you ever watched someone get away with something so small, yet so incredibly disrespectful, that it ruins your whole morning? Well, imagine standing in line for your daily coffee, half awake, desperately clinging to the only thing keeping your soul attached to your body, and then some guy waltzes past the entire line, pretends to ask a question, and places his order like he owns the place. Yeah, he did that. Every single morning. But one day, after watching him pull this stunt for the fourth time, something inside me snapped. And that's when I decided to become the kind of chaotic, caffeine-driven vigilante the world didn't know it needed. If you've ever wanted to witness pure, delicious, slow-brewed revenge served hotter than a fresh espresso shot, hit that like button. Subscribe for more real stories of karma catching up in the best ways possible. Because today, you're about to hear how a petty line cutter got schooled at his own game. Every morning at 7:42 a.m. sharp, I walked into my local coffee shop. The kind of cozy, slightly noisy, slightly chaotic little spot that feels like home even though the baristas still spell my name wrong every time. There was always a small line. 5, 6 people. Enough that you had to wait, but not long enough to complain. This routine was sacred. My first sip of coffee was the emotional equivalent of booting up my brain's operating system. And that's when he appeared. Not on day 1, not even day 2. But eventually the question guy made himself known. He pushed through the door like he was stepping onto a movie set. Perfectly styled hair, shiny watch, Bluetooth earbuds glowing like he was on an urgent call with NASA. He walked with the kind of confidence only possessed by CEOs or people who've never been told no in their entire life. At first I thought, oh, maybe he's in a rush. But then I saw the pattern. He'd pause at the door, look at the line, squint, like we were an obstacle he could outsmart, not wait behind. Then, inevitably, he'd do the same thing, a big, exaggerated, oh, I totally forgot gesture, a loud, fake laugh. And then he'd stroll straight to the counter, past everyone. He'd lean forward and say, hey, quick question. What size is your medium again? Or, do your lattes come warm? And the moment the barista stopped to answer, he'd transition into his order as casually as someone stepping into warm bath water. Since I'm here, I'll just take a large oat milk caramel whatever. And nobody said anything. Why? Because it was morning. Because confrontation requires energy. And because none of us had consumed the thing that gives us energy. His strategy was cowardly, but genius. He wasn't cutting. No. He was just asking question. A loophole, a technicality. And technicalities are the playground of jerks. He did it again, and again, and again. I saw him do it 4 times myself. God knows how many he pulled this on before I started paying attention. Every time, the same thing happened inside me. First, confusion. Then, irritation. Then, that warm, prickling anger in the chest that makes your heartbeat feel like tiny punches. I'd clench my jaw, huff air through my nose, mentally write paragraphs of insults I'd never actually say. But I stayed silent like everyone else. Why? Because no one wants a fight before caffeine. And honestly, it's easier to just roll your eyes. But one morning, the way he smirked, that tiny, self-satisfied grin as he bypassed the entire line, felt like a personal attack. That was the moment a single sentence crystallized in my mind. If he won't follow the rules, I'll make him wish he did. The next day, I prepared. I didn't know how. I didn't have a plan. But I had something more powerful. Petty motivation. And caffeine deprivation is a dangerous thing in the hands of someone with a functioning imagination. That morning, he came in right on schedule. I saw the familiar shift the moment his eyes flicked the line and his brain said, nope, that's not for me. He inhaled, straightened his shirt, started walking. That was my cue. I stepped out of line faster than a guy dodging his responsibilities. I practically slid into position at the counter, beating him there by 1.5 seconds. He blinked at me like I'd just violated the laws of physics. I smiled, a wide, innocent, I'm absolutely doing this on purpose smile. Excuse me, I said sweetly to the barista. I have a quick question. His eyes widened. The barista tilted her head, Sure, what's up? I took a deep breath like I was about to inquire about the meaning of life. So, what's the difference between a latte and a cappuccino again? The question guy froze behind me. The barista explained, in detail. I nodded thoughtfully. Interesting. He shifted his weight, tapped his foot, tried to look casual, but failed. And then this was the key moment. I said, "Oh, actually, I'm not ready to order yet. Let me get back in line." And I stepped back into my exact previous spot, leaving him standing alone, at the counter, with no excuse. And now, the eyes of everyone behind him burning holes through his overpriced jacket. He hesitated. Then, awkwardly, he shuffled to the back of the line, for the first time ever. The next day, I did it again. He walked in. He saw the line. He made the same move toward the counter. So I moved faster. This time I asked, "Do you guys have oat milk? What about almond? Soy? Actually, which one froths better? Like for real scientifically?" The barista actually laughed. He did not. He stood behind me, arms folded, lips tightened, trying not to look furious. I said, "Thanks. I'll get back in line." Back I went, and there he was again, forced to retreat and take his rightful place. 2 days later, another round. He approached the counter. I casually intercepted and said, "Can you walk me through your whole pastry selection? Like all of it?" The barista started listing everything. The guy groaned, actually groaned behind me. Then I stepped back in line. This had become a sport, a ritual, a morning hobby more satisfying than the caffeine itself. After about a week, something incredible happened. He walked in, saw the line, and froze. He scanned the room, looking for me like a man checking for a sniper. I avoided eye contact just to mess with him, and slowly, painfully, he stepped in the back of the line. No acting, no fake questions, no cutting, just a quiet, humbled human being who had been broken by the power of petty justice. For the next several mornings, he didn't even try. He walked in like a normal person and took his place without a fight. And the best part? The baristas noticed. One of them whispered to me as she handed me my drink, "I don't know what you did, but thank you." I just nodded, smiled, took my coffee, and enjoyed the sweet taste of victory. The final moment of satisfaction came a week later. I was in line as usual. He walked in behind me. There was a tiny pause, like he expected some kind of invisible force to push him to the counter. But nothing happened. He sighed, a long, defeated sigh. And then the barista, with the biggest grin, called out, "Next in line, please." But she said it while looking directly at him. Not me, not anyone else, him. He blinked. And for once, the guy who used to push ahead of everyone realized that waiting his turn wasn't beneath him. It was simply what everyone else already understood. Respect is free. And cutting in line is just a fancy way of announcing to the world that you think you matter more than everyone else. But now he knew better. Sometimes revenge doesn't need to be complicated. Sometimes it doesn't need yelling or confrontation or public drama. Sometimes all it takes is a little creativity, a little patience, and the willingness to be just petty enough to teach someone a lesson they'll never forget. Call it karma. Call it justice. Call it coffee-fueled righteousness. Whatever it is, it worked. If this story made you smile, laugh, or quietly cheer inside, hit that like button and tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying everyday revenge you've ever witnessed? Don't forget to subscribe for more true stories of karma served